Good morning and welcome back from the break. My name is Catherine Mwangi. Thank you for joining us today. That was such a beautiful conversation that Mugure had with Kidist and, of course, Fila. Now we want to speak about something really important in our society that I think if we don't take care of it, we'll soon be an endangered species, and that is families. How do we empower our families this year, this decade? And to help me have that riveting conversation, I have someone who's not stranger to this brand. Welcome home.
What's up,
DJ
girl?
Krober.
Hi, Catherine.
High five.
Good to see you, buddy.
Krober just landed from Cape Town, South Africa, where he'd gone for the last 4 or 5 years?
It's 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
See, it just 3 feels like 10. Okay.
I know, it was quite some time.
Yeah, but he'll tell us, you know, what had taken him there. And we have Alice Wanja, who is with Peak Performance. Yes?
Peak Performance International.
Why? International must be in that sentence. Peak Performance International. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And these two, as young as they are, will be having conversations on how we empower our families. Because first, Alice handles that on a daily basis. And Krober is a committed, dedicated family man. I know this because I know him, okay? And you know, I just like to learn about families, but it's important for society. So welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Krober, how was South Africa?
It was good. South
Yeah.
Africa is a good country, special people. And it was quite some time, but it's good to be back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be back home.
Okay.
Nothing compares being away.
Yeah, I like that.
We were in Cape Town, and Cape Town is a special place. Cape Town is very multicultural there. And it has this swing of, it's very multiracial. And specifically, it's, in terms of percentages, it's about 45–48% colored.
Okay.
Colored is a specific race there.
Okay.
And these people are not actually a combination of black and white. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were bought in as slaves from Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand.
Ah.
Yeah, so they are people who have been there for 200 years. They've lost their identity, and they are just South Africans.
I get it.
Those are colors.
Yeah.
And then we have another 45% black in Cape Town area.
Yes.
And then about 10% black.
Yeah.
10% white.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
So you got quite a bit of experience just culturally,
Yeah, it was
your
quite, yeah.
lifestyle, and you had your family with you.
And I was there with my wife and girls, man. It was quite something for them.
Love it.
Yeah. Proper highs, really good highs.
Yeah.
And bad lows.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Both ends of
We'll
the
see
coin.
whether you can talk about the lows a little later on. Alice, tell us about your work with Peak Performance International.
So Peak Performance International is a personal development firm. We're actually one of the leading people in the business of transforming people's lives. And we've been in operation for 20 years. Personally, it's my 6th year with the firm.
6th?
6th year,
You started when you were 12 or?
No. I started when I was quite young, 17, 18, I believe. But yeah, I've been learning and growing, and yeah, so I've learned quite a lot. It's the only place I've ever worked, and I love what I do because I love working with children.
So your work is specifically with children?
So we offer training on personal development, and we have programs for children as young as 5 years, all the way to, we have programs for adults, individuals, and corporates. So we do leadership training for corporate, wealth creation, and team building, high performance team building for organizations. And then for the youth, we have, so for children who are between 5 and 12, we do brain development because, as parents who are viewing would concur with me, now there's an issue with concentration in children, and we're getting it a lot from schools, because we work with schools and parents and teachers. So there's an issue in concentration, self-esteem and confidence, memory, long-term memory, and then of course students who are about to sit for an exam. There's a candidates performance accelerator program, and teenagers we have programs for mindset development. Yeah.
So those issues you talked about that our children are going through, what's bringing that about?
Many factors. Lifestyle, for instance. So what we've done is we've done this for a long time, and we've realized, as much as we're in business, and it's a good thing that we're in business, we would like to create what is called lasting change. Because after working with a child, you want them to prosper. Then you feel like you really had an impact in their lives. So we've gone an extra mile and we're educating parents, so for free, because we realize a child spends more time in school than they do at home. So you find the teacher probably knows the child a little bit more, because they spend more time with the students. So we educate parents, and now we've been taking it to schools. So we've decided to work very closely with the teacher, because the teacher has quite some influence on the development of the child.
Yes.
Yeah, and now we've been going to organizations, corporates. They allow us, in fact, they're very open to allow us in to talk to their staff members who are parents. And we teach parents brain killers, what are the things that are really, really messing up with the brains of developing children right now.
Yeah.
And things like electromagnetic radiation, devices, mobile phones, gadgets.
And they're always with their gadgets.
Exactly. So you find, like, if, for example, a parent has gone to the salon, or you want to talk to your friends, and your child is making noise, to calm them down, you'll give them a device, a phone or something to, but without knowing it, for the brain, for a child who's developing, their brain is still very fragile, and you don't want to expose them to the rays, which, they cause hardening of the cells. And there's a very high rate of cells that are dying in the body of a child, or in adults as well, growing adults. So we educate parents on the brain killers, and what are some of the things we can do, food that people eat, So the child is really exposed to all these things, microwaves, fridges, Wi-Fi in the house, boosters close to where people live, and then lifestyle. The food that they eat is either very too much sugar, salt, or fat. So that really affects how children. So you find children are really hyperactive, and they're taking a lot of sugar, and you think they're active, but they're actually hyper, which is not a good state of learning.
Yeah.
It affects their memory. They're not able to store information long term. So you find even students who are studying for an exam, you read for an exam, and then during the exam time you don't remember, because you're not able to store information long term in your brain. Yeah. So that, among other things, we teach parents.
Wow.
And of course, we give them tools that they can practically apply to help the children who are developing this.
I like that. So it's holistic. Hey, Koba. So your children, they have gadgets. Ukitaka kumnyamazisha unawaambia, hey,
This is a very interesting.
Mami, shika hii.
Actually, we don't operate like that.
Okay.
Do you know in my house for the last 5 years we've never had a TV in our sitting room.
And you're in the media?
Intentionally.
What?
Intentionally. Even when we went in South Africa, we did not have a TV. Even now that we are back, we don't have a TV.
Yeah?
Intentionally, because we realized a TV in the living room is a distraction. There is no time to talk. Someone is flipping something, or it's news time, or there is something happening on TV, or did you see that, did you see this?
Yeah.
And so me and my wife, we purposely said no TV in the living room.
Wow.
Intentionally, for as long as we can.
That's quite something.
Yeah.
I only hear this about people. I've never met someone, and now it has to be you that I'm meeting who actually
it's usually a very weird thing when people walk into my house and they're like,
want after TV, it's not there.
Hey, Koba, are you okay, man?
Yeah.
Is everything okay? I mean, yeah, tuko sawa.
Yeah.
Other than that, kitu ingekuwa on, notice conversation yetu ingia last. Hatungekuwa na hii meaningful conversation Yes. So that intentionally ilipapa start.
Yes.
And then another thing that led to us not having one was when the kids got to that, I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Okay.
So when we began schooling them, when we went to South Africa, I wanted to take them to a school actually. And then we realized, man, kids there have low tolerance on foreigners. So that was the first thing we faced. So we had no option other than to homeschooling. So we did not homeschool because we wanted to. We were pushed into homeschooling.
Right.
Like, we cannot take a 4-year-old to go through rejection for 3 years.
No.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's very unhealthy. The kid will grow up with terrible foundation.
Yes.
So that's how we ended up homeschooling. And then homeschooling took us to another thing known as unschooling. So it was a meandering of, okay, this is new. I did not, once you set foot into something, you realize, there's this other side of this thing. So that's how we began, and we've loved it so far.
Yeah. So even when you came back, you're back to homeschooling, or you found a school?
No, at the time, we just came back like 8 weeks ago.
Just the other day,
yeah. So we are pretty fresh here. So we came into the holiday season. So for them, it's, pumzikeni, you
Yeah.
know, enjoy the
Yeah,
country.
yeah.
But Ushago, where are these people carrying woods, daddy? You know, some very simple questions that I love.
Yeah.
They are weird, but I love them.
Yeah.
Yes, I
like
love
that.
these weird questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you as a dad
Yes.
to two girls, what are some of the things you have decided as a father in a home are non-negotiables? That it doesn't matter what's happening in the economy, in the world, in my life, but my home, this is how I've protected it.
The first thing we instituted is what is important. What is important. And placing it accordingly. And the first thing, once my kids started understanding things, was we were told, we did parenting classes. That is a huge thing that was a plus for us.
Really?
Yes.
There are
went for
parenting classes. Let's
There
start
are parenting
with that.
classes. In the local ministry where we plugged in, at Nairobi Chapel,
Yeah.
they offer parenting classes.
Okay.
And so we plugged in and we did our parenting classes. And that was a huge foundation to set the tone in our house.
Wow.
So, and I remember we were told, you will notice the kids will start manipulating you at some point in life. They will know, this is why I can get dad, this is why I can get mom, this is why I can split them and win my way. So the first thing the kids had to learn is that I love their mother more than I love them.
Wow.
I love my kids to death. I can do anything for them. But for them to hear it verbalized from me, that I actually love your mom more than I love you.
Yeah.
We were told that because anything can happen to children. Anything can happen. Kids are a blessing from God, and it's a huge blessing, but they can go. So if you don't love the mother more, you're in a place where you'll be shaken. Because it's very easy to love our kids. It's flesh and blood. Happens like this. Oh, you see them at the hospital. Jesus, my God.
Stress.
My baby, I'm so you love them like this.
Yeah.
It's your flesh and blood. Same case for my wife. But the protection, they find security in knowing that, hey, where dad and mama, hapa hii game hapa
Yeah.
siwezi wapata. Hapa imeshikana hivi.
Yeah. Wow.
Whatever he said there, watambua, oh, hiyo lazima tutaongea na daddy. So wanajua, the way it's going to fall around, there's a place it has to come for renaissance.
Right.
And then from there now it trickles down. So they know this is solid.
They know you're a unit.
They know, even if you ask them right now, if I came with my kids and I will say, who does dad love the most? They will tell you, mom.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Period.
I
Non-negotiable.
like it. I like it.
So that is what gives them security.
Yes.
That come what me, dad loves mom.
Yeah.
So they start, they know,
Yeah.
okay, these guys, they operate like this.
Love it.
So from there now we institute. God is actually more important. Then we tell them now, I actually love God more than I love your mom. And we're like, wow. So do I need to love you more than God? Oh, no, you actually have to love God more than you love him. Yes, because that is the person that gave us the responsibility of taking care of you. Is actually way much more. I remember when we were teaching them how to pray, we told them that when we go before God, we don't go as dad and Toria and Riri and mom. We actually go as children of God. We are all children to God. It's like, oh. So before God, we are all the same. It's like, yes. So once kids understand some of these underlying things, there is an operation that, oh, dad, can we get this? Have you talked to Jesus about this? Like, oh, I can talk to Jesus about this too? Yes. Tell him.
So you're trading up.
So we are raising up these kids knowing this is how our house is going to operate. Yes.
I love it.
Yes. And then performance is not everything for us. Okay? I'm not, my goal is not for my kid to be the brightest kid in the country. That is not my goal at all. My goal is I want this kid to love humanity.
Wow.
Human beings are the most important people in this globe.
Yeah.
Yes. So once these kids understand human beings are important,
Yeah.
the rest are just details. Yes. People, it's easy to work with someone who is good with people than the brightest guy in the room. Any day. Any day. Any day. Someone who's good with people, dude, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay. So Alice, in the case of families that single parent. So there's no mom or dad, it's either mom or dad. How do you help kids in that scenario?
Now, so you find children come from different backgrounds, right? And we've been talking to schools and heads of schools, and finding out what are the issues you're having to deal with at this particular point. And initially, I've done this for 6 years, right? When I started, I was very green, receiving children for training, and they're coming in, and they're okay. But now you find we have cases of children, a child who's like 7 years, and they have acidity. They're taking meds for acidity. They're sick, they're diabetic, so it's become paramount for us to know the health, state of a child before they come into class. And having talked to teachers now, you realize teachers are saying a lot of what is happening at home really has a great
impact.
Yeah, really, it impacts the child a lot. And as much as they may not, because parents are really busy in this day and
This
time.
town, yeah.
There's a research I was reading that says parents now spend the time that you spend with your child on average 11 minutes in a day. And of those 11 minutes, you're spending time with your child as a secondary activity. Like, for example, if it's a man, you're reading a newspaper while you're listening to your child. If it's a mother, you're cooking. She's in the kitchen, she's cooking, and then you're like, how was school today? What did you guys do? So you're not fully present.
Yes.
Fully engaged.
And you're not fully engaged. You're doing it as a secondary activity, and that, you don't see it now, but it does have effects. Because you see children, as they grow up, they have what we call windows of opportunity. And these are times that a child can be able to learn something with a lot of ease. So if, for example, it's playing a musical instrument, being in charge of their emotions, EQ, emotional control, expressing themselves, languages, anything, they're called windows of opportunities, and if you read about them, you'll see. So children have, as young, they say that by the time a child is 3 years, 85% of brain growth has already occurred.
3 years?
3 years, 85%. And so you find that even like when you're working with organizations, you'll meet an executive team. They're looking for a program that's going to help them manage their emotions, EQ. These are skills that children should learn by the time they're 3. By the time a child is 3, you need to already have taught them how to be in charge of their emotions. And there's a report that was released by the World Economic Forum, right? And they said 2/3 of the jobs that the children who are growing up now, your children, the jobs that they're going to do, are not in the market now. Okay, so children are going to school, we are preparing them for the future, but 2/3 of the jobs that they'll do are not in the market now. So the thing is, people will work very hard, study, get the papers, but then afterwards, the papers don't match the job market, and they said that if you think that there's depression now, it's bound to get worse. Because if you imagine a world where people have really worked hard and they've studied, but you can't match your skills to the current job market. Now, the skills that are really, really important for the 21st century is something they're calling the me skills. Helping your child understand myself.
Me. Wow.
Impulse control. Understanding. It's not even about the other person, it's about me as an individual. How do I understand myself? Who am I? How do I control my emotions? How do I express myself when I'm happy or when I'm not happy? Then when a child is able to do that, then they get the we skills. Teamwork, communication, collaboration, working with other people. Then skills like why skills, and children are curious because children are constantly, they want to learn, they're touching things, but adults, we tend to restrain them instead of allowing them to explore and learn. So you kill their curiosity. A child is very curious. But so we find that they say it's not going to matter how many papers you have. You could have a PhD, you could have a master's, but if you can't be able to provide solutions, then it's really not, it's not useful.
I like that. So me, we, why?
Why, wobble skills, what if skills, what if I do this, what would happen? So it means you give the child space to think, create, imagine, innovate, imagination alone. Like if you sit down and tell a child to imagine something in class, and you do that a lot, they can go on and on and on, and they don't stop.
Yeah.
So you look at the child, and and I've watched even children who are like younger than, they're 4 years. So there's this little boy I met, and he's 4 years, and because how you teach children is, the children are very good at modeling. They model what they see.
What they see there.
Exactly. So you tell them it's not good to do this. We had a class, right? An example. And we said, I told them I need 2 groups, and then every group give me a group leader. So and I said, if you want to be the group leader, you can campaign and say why people should vote for you. Because you're going to represent them well, or because you'll communicate, my message to them. And so I give them 5 minutes, and then I say, so who are the leaders? And then 2 guys show up, little boys. And then children are very honest. They're genuinely going to say anything. So one child says, Cha, he promised to give us money. I'm talking of a class of children between 5 and 12, and this boy was 7, right? And so I said, do you have money? Why did you promise people you're going to give them money? And then he said, yeah, it's what everybody does.
Oh.
Okay, and that's a 7-year-old. And then in the same class, another child, actually the same morning, when the parent was dropping them to our place for the program, he was stopped by a cop. Okay, and you know you're going to work, you have to drop your child for some training, there's traffic, you're battling so many things, you have deadlines, your boss is on your neck. And so the easy way out is, you know, to bribe a cop, right? But it's something that a child has seen. They can't unsee it, right? But then you tell them it's very wrong. Our country is absolutely, you know, there's corruption, but you're living it. You are, like, it's you. We're blaming, you know, it's human nature to blame. You know, if something happens, it's the government, it's the economy, corruption. But you don't ask yourself, what role do I play in this? It's not about what happens to me, what am I doing, you know. So, yeah, you know, I've learned a lot just from working with children. They model behavior. You might tell them one thing, but as long as you're doing something different, the actions of a child, I believe children are a mirror. They show us, you know, who we really are.
Love it.
Yeah.
I like that what you said, they model, because, for example, in your home, your girls have grown up knowing that I cannot accept a man who doesn't love me more the way I've seen dad love mom. So they'll model that when their time comes. So they won't necessarily say yes to anyone because they know what love looks like, you know? So just, yeah,
exactly. And you see, showing affection to your spouse in front of your children is really important, and I agree with what you said, because the family, in a family setup, it's the basic unit, right? A child learns about relationships from the family. So it's the first thing you see from your parents, because they're the people, or whoever the caregiver is. So it's good to, you know, to show love and affection. It's fine, and so I agree.
I remember when you're traveling to SA and you had a conversation before you went, and you were insistent you were going with your family.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I asked you, but you're only going for 3 years. You can always come and visit them. And, I mean, it's just South Africa. You can just be coming twice a year. And you're like, no, if I'm going, I am going with everyone. And I was like, man.
That decision, Catherine, was a very interesting one. It was already decided even before any of this thing came up. We decided this before we even got married.
Oh.
Yeah, we had talked about this. So anyone who's going to relocate, and it's over 6 months, we are all going. So it was already decided. So when that time came, it was done, regardless of how expensive it was. It is very easy to go alone, adjust in a place, find a cheaper thing, live in a student's quarter. Then that is extremely manageable. But when we got there, we were like, whatever happens from here, we are all going together.
My God.
These kids are going to grow up one day. You know, I grew up with a dad who was an absentee father. So these kids are going to grow up one day, and they will know the truth. Just like now I'm a grown-up, and I know why my dad was absent. Same case. They will grow up, and they will know, Dad went to school, and he said we are all going. So it was important for him, for all of us to go.
Yeah.
One day they will know the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they will make that decision. When that time comes for them, they will know we have to stick together.
Yes.
Come what may. Do you know, because of us going together, we had to downgrade. Completely downgrade. Live in an apartment very far from the city, because that was what we could afford. They go like, this is what it means, sticking together. Do you know, they learned very many lessons out of that. It's like, so Dad, so we have to roll together as a family, yeah? It's like, oh yes. Because if we don't, who will? If we don't, who will? And it gave me so much peace. There were days campus was hectic. And you know, when you do an engineering degree, it's hectic. You're doing numbers. And then you walk into that door, and then your girl says, hey! And then I was teaching them Swahili, so they're like, Baba! So awkward.
Yeah.
Baba, mekuja!
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God, this is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
This is worth it.
Wow.
This is worth it.
Love it.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, kukapo, tukae.
No.
And then one says, so what did you learn in school? I'm like, hey, unataka kusikia hii story? Wacha nikupatie hii story. Eh.
Okay.
So I remember one day we even went and bought a small speaker and dissected it. And dissected a speaker, and I told them, oh, this is how electricity comes, goes through a magnet, and it changes electricity, it's a transducer,
Yeah.
into motion.
Yeah.
And they were like, man, do you know, it's every time they see a speaker,
Yeah.
they say, I know how that thing works.
Wow.
Because
you involved
because,
them.
yeah, they know everything.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm DJing, they were like, oh, I want to DJ too. Let's make a beat, Dad. Let's make beats like you. And it's, if my
Yeah.
kids ever do audio, it's because of me.
Yeah.
I know for sure, because when we go all out.
I like
Yes,
it.
yes.
As a team, together.
As a team,
Wow.
Yes.